Greetings of peace and welcome. This evening we have a great topic, developing healthy self-respect. You may have realized that our self-respect has been influenced in many ways by people, situations, etc. Our guest speaker, Sister Aruna, will share her insights and experience on the above topic with us. I must give credit to her biodata before she commences her talk. Sister Aruna began her spiritual journey at the age of 8 years, when she was 8 years old. She's a meditator over 38 years, and this is proof of her clear wisdom, being peaceful and creative. I should think just being peaceful is just so placid, but being peaceful creates a creative mind. And so you can see how productive and how dynamic and innovative Aruna is. And she also began her inner spiritual work in London in the 1970s. She has traveled to many countries over the world and is an experienced meditation teacher, speaker, and author. And I like her self-published book on conflict resolution. I love this book. It's simple, it's practical, and it really resonates with us people, on this journey. It's not an easy journey. You have to make lots of adjustments. So this book allows for us to follow it in a practical way, and it makes a big difference in our lives. And so the other aspect that I cannot miss out is on in November 2014, Aruna received a Woman of Excellence Award from the Yoga Federation of India for her contribution to social work. And she really has a gift of a clear intellect and insight that helps to convey spiritual wisdom in a way that is understandable to everyone. It's accessible and with a language that speaks to everyone. Absolutely natural, down to earth, but very powerful at the same time. So Sister Aruna, it's a pleasure having you as always. So I hand you over to Aruna. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. And thank you for the warm welcome. And always a lengthy introduction. Sorry for those who come to my talks. So yes, Om Shanti. And let's just take a moment. And in this moment, I would like you to just reflect. We're just going to be silent for 20 seconds. And in this moment, I would like you to actually reflect on your self-esteem and how you measure your level of self-esteem. So yeah, feel free to turn your cameras on. I'll have it on gallery mode. Yeah, great. Thanks a lot. That's great. Bless you. Yeah, so let's just take a moment, okay? And I'd like you to reflect on your self-esteem, self-respect, how you respect yourself, how much you respect yourself. Let's just give that some thought. Right here. So just hold that answer. I won't ask you to write it, but just hold that feeling, hold the answer. Maybe some of you felt, yes, I'm a good self-esteemer. Some of you felt, no, I could use some more self-esteem. Okay, just hold on to that feeling. So basically what we believe about ourselves, right, creates our image. So what do you believe about yourself? When you look into the mirror every morning, or maybe many times a day, what do you see? Do you see a confident, strong person? Do you see a person who's willing to take on any challenge? Or do you find yourself quite scared to take challenges? How do you see yourself?
Every morning, when I look at the mirror, I'm saying myself, what a beautiful lady you are. Your inside reflects, your faces reflects your inside. I'm saying, especially every day, I'm saying that, and then I smile and I see myself as a beautiful face, lightly beautiful face, not physically beautiful. Beautiful is coming inside. This kind of feeling every day, especially every day, I am saying myself like this verse. Okay, thank you.
Yeah, beautiful is coming inside, or the inside is coming outside? That beauty is coming outside.
Yeah, beauty is in my inside and it is coming outside. I want to say like this, because if our heart is beautiful, it contains lots of beautiful ideas, beautiful feelings to others. It reflects it on our face. Maybe I couldn't explain, however.
No, that's perfect. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Thank you.
So, yeah, just think about this, okay? How you see yourself, how you value yourself, and maybe you can write it in the chat. So basically, what we think about ourselves as, did you know that we actually create that reality? So yes, it is a little bit like, fake it till you make it. Because whatever we expect to find, that's what we will find. And whatever we think about, that's what we will become. And then whatever is our attitude, that's the attitude that we will create. In other words, that's how we will see life. That's how we will project ourselves. And then that's how other people will see you. So let's not talk about self-esteem, but let's talk about ego. So if I think I'm the captain of this ship and I'm full of ego and I have a very controlling nature, then without even saying anything, people are going to get that vibration. So on the contrary, if I have very low self-esteem, then that's what people are also going to pick up. And actually, self-esteem and ego are on the same linear line, you could say, or meter or measure. So self-esteem is on one end and ego is on the other end. So if I'm not in my self-esteem, then I will be moving towards my ego, because I will need something to replace that self-respect or that idea of self-respect. Do you see? So if I'm not valuing myself, then I'll have to create something which is an illusion, an image of some kind of myself, that then I feel can be valued, that can be respected. So if from inside I'm not seeing my virtues, my qualities, then I'll have to create something. So I start giving myself titles. I start giving myself certificates. I start telling people how much I have achieved, how good I am. I did this, I did that. I saved this person. I'm a hero. And so I need to now boast about it because I need to create some kind of identity. And so this is the point. If I'm not in self-respect, I will be in ego. So tonight, we don't want to talk about ego. We want to move more towards talking about something positive and powerful, and that is the self-respect, the self-esteem. And so how do we transform this image or belief about ourselves? It's not just about looking into the mirror and saying it, but I actually have to believe in it. Like, for example, the beliefs that I have, and think about it now, and you don't need to tell me, but just think about it. Perhaps you have certain beliefs about yourself, whether you can do something, whether you can't do something, whether you're strong, whether you have fear, whether you are, you know, this word gullible, where you could be easily influenced, where you have no patience, where you have a controlling nature, where you're too generous, you can't decipher where to give, where not to give. Anything. If you believe that you are that, like if you've created an image of yourself as that, now you have to work hard to hold on to that image because that's who you think you are. But we have to go inside more and see, no, I'm something else. I'm something more than this. Anyway, we'll come to the inside. But for now, understand that these labels or self-beliefs or self-images that I've created have actually been learned. They've been adopted along the way. Just even if you go back to when you were a teenager, and maybe your teacher idolized something, maybe your parents, maybe your siblings, and you start to think, oh, I want to be like them. If I'm like that, then maybe I get more respect. So some of this external sense of self-respect we actually got as we were growing up. And as I said, it has been learned. So if it has been learned, then that means it can be unlearned as well, can't it? So I need to understand that no one is responsible for holding on to this belief except myself. I'm the only person that's responsible for holding on to this belief. And I'm accepting it. And so who is the only person that can let it go? Is myself. But I will only let it go once I recognize the truth. And the truth is that I'm something more than that. I'm something more than what I just see in the mirror. I'm something more than I just see on my certificates. I'm something more than even what people think of me. I'm something much more than that. That is the truth. And so when I sit in meditation, I actually become aware of my innate qualities from inside, because I start to feel them in the hustle and bustle of life, in the sound of life. I may not be able to really feel and hear, who am I? Who am I is a multi-million-dollar question. Who am I? Now imagine that now, today, you created for yourself a new belief. Think right now of a new belief. The belief that I can. The belief that I am possible. The belief that I am victorious. I can victor anything. That I am courageous. That's all you need to do. And actually, that's all you need to do every day. Anyway, I'll give you those exercises later. But basically, you just need to believe in something else, something different that is more permanent. And not just I'm rich, and not just I'm capable. You see, actually, let's move on to that, because people who think that real self-esteem is about how other people see me, or real self-esteem is, how others approve of me, or how they see my actions in terms of my skill set, or problem-solving skills. No. Some people, or some people's self-esteem or lack of self-esteem actually permeates the workplace. And what does this mean? This means that if you show that you are capable, then maybe you get promoted. Because actually that's what responsible means. Responsible means ability to respond. So if I show that I'm capable and responsible, then I get given more. And more means, I think in most countries, more pay, not in all countries. Because somebody was transferred to becoming a principal, but they didn't get a pay rise. And then also that I'm only, I have self-esteem only if I'm competent to fulfill the challenges of life. No, you could be losing, but yet inside you can have a great sense of self-respect. It's not the outer is a measure of the inner. Maybe that's karma. Maybe that's the drama of life. Maybe that's what you're supposed to learn. But that shouldn't take away from your self-esteem. Maybe this is a good time to tell you a story. So there was a wrestler, and this wrestler was a very heavyweight wrestler. Story from India. And he used to always pick on big guys. But one day he saw some weak-bodied person coming towards him. And he said, "Come on, let's have a fight." And this guy got so scared because he could see this guy is a professional, and he's won a lot of championships. But then somebody from his clan, the young one, the weak-bodied one, somebody from his clan whispered something into his ear. And he went and he fought with all his vigor. And he boosted this man, the wrestler. And everybody was shocked. Everybody's thinking, what? What happened? How comes he won? And so everybody asked him, what happened? Who and what whispered what into your ear? And he said, my friend here, he wasn't his friend, but he's from the same clan. My friend here told me that I'm from the Rajput clan and that we never lose. And that's all it was. That's all it was. He just realized, he woke up to his greatness and he realized that I am that. And so nothing and no one can take that away from me. So you can see how really, as I begin to think of myself. So again, I know some of you will have this question, well, is that not ego? So what is the difference between ego and self-esteem? And that is, in ego, I get hurt. In ego, there is pain. Okay, I'll tell you another story. So this is a story of a man who was a sculptor, sculpturer. So he makes the sculptures. But he was very famous because he was so good at making them that they looked so real, like real life. And he was getting old, and he was thinking that I don't want the demons of death to come and take me. And so he came up with this plan. And what was the plan? He made 10 sculptures of himself, exactly the same. And so when the demons of death were coming, he stood amidst those sculptures, right? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So 11 sculptures standing. One of them is him. And he thought that when the demon of death comes, he will not be able to recognize me because he won't know which one to take. And so then he'll have to return back empty-handed. But of course, this is the law of the universe, that when death comes, it has to take you. But he thought maybe there could be a change. So then what happened? Of course, the demon of death is much more wise. He's a professional, right? So he thought, aha. And he said, I think this sculpture here has something wrong with it. It's not quite perfect. And just then that man came alive and he said, which sculpture? Which sculpture is not perfect? And the demon of death said, aha, I got you. Because the ego just cannot stay quiet. So the ego is the one that really hurts, as I said. Whereas in self-esteem, I don't get hurt and I can maintain my composure. I can maintain my happiness. In fact, people with high self-esteem are confident. They can solve problems. They don't have anxiety attacks and they don't worry about the problems. They just get on with it. They're not frightened. They take courage. They can take risks without fear. And not only that, but they are able to nurture themselves. This is important. Somebody with a strong sense of self-respect can keep a balance in life and can nurture themselves. And the reason why they can do that is because they do not want to be a slave. They do not want to be a slave to the things outside. Because as soon as I give my power away, I'm a slave to that. So my latest thing has been about happiness, and I've given a few talks on that. And the person who has self-esteem is able to maintain their happiness no matter what. If you have a happy person and an angry person, who is the more powerful of the two? It is the happy person, because the angry person has become a slave, whereas the happy person stays the master, right? So master means this strong sense of self. Strong sense of self meaning what? It has to be something from deep inside. But anyway, before I come to that, I want to talk about this passive, assertive, and aggressive behavior, because this is also very important. See, again, let me define what is assertive behavior, and it's in that book, actually, the conflict book. And you can get a free download of that book in soft copy from my blog. So assertive behavior is when I'm respecting myself and I'm respecting you. But in passive behavior, I'm not respecting myself. And in aggressive behavior, I'm not respecting you. Yeah, when I'm aggressive, then I'm only respecting myself. I'm only thinking of what I want. So it's either my way or the highway. And in passive behavior, I'm respecting you and saying, well, yeah, you take whatever you want, you do what you want, I'm okay. When I'm not really, but I'm allowing the other person to literally walk over me like a doormat. Whereas, as I said, assertive behavior is you say, yeah, I hear you. You want this, but I also want this. And that's the place we need to be. In real self-respect, I'm not being aggressive. I'm not being an abuser. I'm not attacking you or, getting at you, I mean. But at the same time, I'm respecting my needs and what I need. And this is possible. It's an art, but it's possible to get what you want while the other person also gets what they want. And that's what we call a win-win situation in conflict resolution. So the point here is that, we have to come into action. Again, people with a strong sense of self-esteem, just do it. Just do it. Instead of talking about it, bragging about it, which the arrogant might, but with the strong sense of self, what will happen is I will have the will and I will do it. I'll have a strong sense of doing what I want to do. And did you know that only 1 out of 50 people are able to take action? 1 out of 50 people actually do it and say, yes, I'm going to do what I set out to do. So it's actually the action that separates those who achieve their goals and those who don't. Because when I'm in passive behavior, then as I said, I'm leaving it to others. And I never do it. I never get around to it. And this is now the area of blame, because now I'm blaming you. I'm not taking responsibility, but now I'm blaming you. The passive behavior blames other people. And the passive behavior says, well, if you were not here, if you did not do that, etc., etc. Right? So real self-esteem is, believing and then seeing what's right for me, what's good for me, respecting the self, and then taking that action. Because as I said, we can sit on our couch and think about climbing Mount Everest and never get round to it. I mean, we can have wonderful thoughts, but if we don't put them into action, then they don't turn into wonderful outcomes. And where do we get our greatest satisfaction from? Is from the actual doing, isn't it? Being, but doing for right now, for this moment. To get off our couch and to actually do it. Because when we do it, then we create this sense of self. Right? That's the first step. Then you realize that afterwards you don't even need to do it. But for the subject of self-respect now, I need to, in a way, how I see it, I need to rewrite that disc. In my soul, as I said, there have been patterns of behavior created. So I now need to create new patterns of behavior. And I'll go through those quickly with you. So first of all, accept yourself. Just really accept yourself as you are, whatever you are. And I always believe that God accepts us as we are, right? God doesn't judge us. And also, God is the only one who can judge, and even that on the last day. Right? This is what I say to myself, and this is what I'm passing on to you. So don't look out for any judgment. I mean, don't be taken away by any judgment of other people. They are judging you because they cannot judge themselves. Okay, and whatever's your past is your past. Forget it, let it go. Just accept. And I always say to myself, the decisions I made at that time were based on what I knew at that time. So I don't beat up on myself. Yes, if I had known better, maybe I would have made other decisions, but I didn't know any better. So I have to forgive myself. And so then, as I said, just accept yourself as you are. And really nothing can change until you accept yourself. Acceptance, I always believe, is such a good quality to create inner peace. Just accepting your situation. I'm not saying you don't do anything about it. You will, but the first step is accept it. It is what it is. If you're penniless, it is what it is. If you don't have any friends, it is what it is. If you have to babysit a patient, it is what it is. Just accept it, but stop fighting it, stop resisting it. This will make you empowered. This will make you into a master. Then, secondly, get to know yourself, right? And for this, really, we have to take our time to get to know ourselves. What is your true self? Do you know? Not just what the society sees in you, or not just your friends or your family. Who are you? And for this, I would say to you, is you become your spy. You become your spy. What does that mean? That means spy on your destructive habits. Which are the habits that are destroying you? Maybe it's what you say, how you say it, the choice of your words, or just your behavior. Maybe you're careless. Maybe you're too speedy, too hasty. But just see where it is that you sabotage yourself. And again, you will do something about it, but for now we see and we accept. So let me get to know myself. What are my triggers? What are my strengths? And then I move forward. And then keep approving of yourself. So whenever you do something, keep approving. Don't wait for approval from others. Like a classic example is what? When somebody makes a meal. Okay, so say somebody makes a meal for 5 people and they bring it to the table and they serve everyone and everybody starts eating. And what does the cook ask? So, how is it? Do you like it? Is it nice? Is it? Well, it doesn't matter. You made it with love and you shared it with love, and it doesn't matter. Because also, everybody's taste is not the same. Some like it chili, some like it salty, some like it sweet and salty. You can't please everybody, right? So just approve of yourself and say, yeah, I did a great job. Anyway, we could talk more about that, but I think you're getting the message. And then empower yourself. This is very important. We have to become masters of ourselves and empower ourselves. Which means what? Which means to not blame, not to play the blame game, not to complain. In fact, many, many years ago, Sister Genti had given me this advice when I was about to begin a meditation center. And she said to me, look, one of these, well, basically don't do it. And that is, don't complain. And of course, it took me time, but then I realized what she meant. Because when I complain, then I'm actually making myself powerless. I'm making myself into a victim. And not only that, but it drains our energy. And so we need to close those drains and not give our power away, right? Then improve yourself. What does this mean? It means like go back to school, start learning new things again. Especially as I would insist, I'm biased to meditation. And those who haven't done the meditation course, go start the meditation course. Really, there's so much truth in what the Brahma Kumaris have to say. And a lot of good practices about how to manage the self, how to improve the self, how to keep the self calm, which is my next point. Just keep yourself calm. But back to improve yourself, yeah, you will realize you have so many, you'll discover things about yourself that you perhaps didn't know. Try out new things. Try out cooking, try out knitting, try out sewing, try some new sport, try learning to drive. In fact, there was one girl, and I kept telling her, why don't you learn to drive? Why don't you learn to drive? And she just kept resisting it. Finally, we sent her to the driving school and she passed. And then, you know what, during COVID, she thanked me so much because everybody was isolated. And she said, if I didn't know how to drive, I wouldn't have got any groceries. So she, because nobody could meet anyone, and you have to be in isolation or in your cluster, and nobody was driving except her. So you just never know, And when you have that extra skill, then again, as I said, you feel empowered because you can. There's nothing you can't do. And I guess my final point is, be yourself. Don't try to be somebody else. Don't try to copy anybody. Don't be jealous of anybody because you are unique. You are a unique diamond. You have your own colors. And that's the problem. When I try to be like somebody else, then I neither become them nor I'm myself. So I've got a double whammy because I'm neither them nor me. And that's even more confusion. And nobody wants you to be like somebody else. Everybody wants you to be you. And again, I come back to the inner peace. That's the inner peace. When I really get to know myself and I'm happy with what I see. So yes, I know time is moving, but just 5 more minutes. I would like you to go inside and I would like you to see what is it that makes you a unique piece. And I want you to really list your qualities. Qualities meaning something special about you, something that is a blessing to you, something that you're able to do naturally and easily. So maybe you are a good listener. Maybe you can give time easily. Maybe you love to care for people. Maybe you just like to give, whatever it is. So yes, at the end of each day, I'd like you to, it's a daily review exercise. So at the end of each day, I'd like you to write down all your successes. Don't focus on the negative because we don't do that. We know we have weaknesses, but if I focus on them, I'm giving energy to them. I don't want to do that. I have limited energy and I want to give that energy to strengthening my qualities. A bit like the appreciative inquiry. I appreciate what is working and I give energy to that. So really, like, for example, right, if you were able to stay calm and patient today, if you manage to, keep your mouth shut when you could have blurted something, if you manage to get sufficient work done, whatever, write it down. That's your success. And keep looking at those successes. And I would suggest, like, from morning, aim to do a few successes. So at the end of the day, you can be writing about them. And this is what also makes us feel good. Really giving, like volunteer service or giving of oneself gives us the greatest joy. They say that if somebody's depressed and they go and serve somebody else, then that's a big boost to the depressed. Because just by giving something of ourselves brings us so much joy and happiness when we see their happy faces. And then the mirror exercise. So when you do look into the mirror, I'd like you to, I'd like you to talk to yourself and again, do these positive affirmations. So there's not time to go into them, but they have to be positive. They have to be short. You should be able to remember them at gunpoint. They should be in the current verb, not past tense. And some verb, it should be a verb, right? So create some affirmations for yourself, look in the mirror and, say to yourself that I am that, I'm that, I am, and then conclude by saying, I love you, I love you, I love you. So every day, yes, it's a practice, it's a habit to really, reaffirm your richness, your, as I said, if you're the diamond, then that's the sparkle. That's your beauty, inner beauty. So when we talk about spiritual self-respect, we're really basing it on our qualities and our virtues. So my ability to accommodate, my ability to adjust, my ability to face situations, my ability to mold, my ability to be patient, my ability to give when I'm really tired. I mean, there's so many powers, inner powers. And the more I cultivate those, then I can begin to develop a strong sense of spiritual self-respect. It's a healthy, that's what the topic is, right? That's the healthy self-respect. Yes, I'm asking you to go improve yourself. Okay, you might learn a few new things, but ultimately you will have to look at the soul. And, what are the innate qualities of the soul? It's a bit like when you go for a job interview. What do they ask you? Well, what are you good at? What experience do you have? It's the same with the soul. What has the soul come with? Just see how much experience of life you have. You know not to go there, not to do that, not to say that, not to think that. That's all experience, right? So this is all your inner wealth. And we need to use that inner wealth, and we need to use it so we don't make the same mistakes again, so we don't create that negative karma again. And finally, I just want to say that we really need to heal the past. If I really want a healthy sense of self-respect, I shouldn't have any guilt. So I need to put the past behind, which means either I have to forgive or forget or apologize or whatever I need to do to clear the past. If there's any karmic burden or bondage, then again, the soul cannot feel light. It cannot have that healthy sense of self, because that burden is a chain. It's going to be pulling me. So it's so important to heal the soul of any past. And it's not even confession. It's just, again, acceptance and realizing, okay, what was my mistake and how can I improve that mistake? So I will stop here. I know I've gone over the schedule. And I'm happy to take any questions. If you have any questions, we can do a meditation.
Hello, Asmita here.
Yeah.
Can you hear me?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, I just want to understand, like many a times where the other person has different sanskaras or completely opposite from us, and still we have to deal with such people. And that time it's a greatest challenge. Like it is like we are in strongly, we have something. Suppose we don't like wasting food, and the other person is too much into it, and it might be your father, mother, or a very much in close relation. You're completely opposite of that, and that time handling and keeping the acceptance, patience, whatever you told, it's a greatest challenge, I feel. What do you feel, how to deal with them? Because somewhere we get angry or something, like, so how to deal with that emotion?
Yeah. Yes. So see, you have to ask yourself. See, you getting angry, and on the other side, they are wasting food. So which is worse?
Wastage of food in somehow, some way, it is not at all good, right? Like suppose you strongly feel it should not get wasted, right? Ideally,
Yeah, but
it can.
your anger is also not good, no?
So
See,
somewhere you want to stop that activity, that person should not do this.
yeah. So first thing to accept is, well, the anger is not going to work, right? That's the first thing I'm trying to say. So by you getting angry, you're not going to control that person by getting angry. That's the first thing. And then I would set an example, right? I would, of course, not waste food. And then I would ask, even today, something like this happened actually here, because we had a worker. And so the other sister said, let's feed him. I said, okay. And then she said, put some more. And I said, but are you sure he will not waste? And she said, no, I don't think he will waste. I said, okay. So anyway, we put more onto his plate. And luckily, yeah, he didn't waste it. But I would have also felt it if he would have wasted this, precious food. But I would just ask, why don't you try some other tactics? And why don't you try and serve? Why don't you say, well, let's take a bit and try it. And if you like it, you can have some more. I mean, you have to find your way to managing the situation, plus not losing your cool, right? That's your challenge. But what I'm trying to say is you have to stay positive, and you have to stay as a well-wisher and not condemn this person. That see they waste their food and see they're no good, and right? That energy doesn't work. That's what I'm saying.
And one more question I want to ask, sister. I have faced this issue many a times. Like I have observed one thing. Like suppose in your office or anywhere, suppose if we are into more of like we're talking more or giving more importance to the other person, sometimes it is very a possibility that we are being taken granted. And suppose if we speak very less, then also people go into that observation that she's too much, I think, of ego or something. So how are we going to keep the balance between the two? Because I have experienced this. The people who are more talkative, they have more friends, but they still land up in some controversy because of more talkativeness. And some people do, I have, especially in BKs, normally I have seen most of the BKs, they speak so less that sometimes they are being having an impression about them that they are too egoistic, they are not talking at all. So these two extremes I have seen. So what's your how can we maintain a balance in this?
Yourself, when you feel like talking, talk, and when you don't. There's no fine line or rule, or it's not even to say that the meditators don't talk. I don't think it's like that. I think
Very
it's
less. It's too less, or sometimes it gives an impression about them that they're avoiding people, or like they don't want to disturb their energies by maybe the other person's thought process. They don't want to get polluted because of
yeah.
them.
I mean, I think when one has understood that this is a waste of time, or it's futile, or we don't want to put our energy there, then yeah, we will not talk. But then again, you can find things to talk about. So you can change the conversation, right? To talk about the things that are meaningful, are purposeful. So
Yeah.
I agree. I don't think we should give the silent treatment, but then we should be creative and, find things that are positive to talk about.
Sister,
Yeah, sure.
I have one quick question. How does one deal with anxiety? Let's say I've applied for a role, or I need to get feedback from someone, but I'm so scared that the feedback might be what I don't want. Therefore, I get into this fearful space. I feel anxious. My mind is not calm. So my question is, how do we calm the mind, and how do we face uncertainty in a less fearful way?
Well, again, this I think is more prevention rather than cure. And what I mean by that is just daily practice. Because when I really reinforce a strong sense of self, and like, for example, okay, this book that Sister mentioned, when I took the conflict resolution course, after that, I just felt, it's okay to have conflict. Like I just changed my attitude towards conflict, because I felt like I was now equipped to deal with conflict, or talk about conflict, or to accept my 50%. So once you learn about these things, you learn about what's going on with you, or your anxiety, or you keep self-approving yourself, then I think you get better at accepting what life throws at you. But if you never look at yourself in the mirror, and then somebody puts a mirror in front of you, then of course you're going to be shocked at what you see. because you never took the time to, fix yourself. So continue, continue doing the inner work, keep the calm, accept. And I think that should work.
Sante.
Anybody else? If not, we could, let's have a meditation then now. It's good to, let's have a meditation. So everybody just sit comfortably. And is it possible to have some music? If it doesn't interfere. Right now, I choose to go into my inner world of thoughts and feelings. And for the first few moments, I just calm down my thoughts. And I do that by just repeating to myself that I am a calm and peaceful being. And really feel it and say it with conviction. I am a calm and peaceful being. And allow that peace to flow from the top of your head to the tips of your toes. And allow every soul, every cell of the body to be filled with that peace and calm. As you breathe in, release. And as you exhale, just release all the stress and tension. Now I would like you to look at your soul. Imagine that there is a spotlight on your soul. Yourself very clearly in the mirror of your mind's eye. And I would like you to see that you are indeed pure-hearted, kind, benevolent, passionate, beautiful, strong, valuable being. Just repeat that to yourself quietly. And just feel the feeling. I am that, I am that. I am special, I am strong, I am powerful. I can. the means. I find the way. Everything is possible. And now imagine that you are under the light of God. And that light really makes you sparkle, really makes you shine. And always feel that canopy of protection. Always feel that canopy of God's love. Because you are not alone. Just feel your power. Feel yourself to be a master of your life. You will decide. You will dictate. Just feel the feeling now that you are in charge of your life and you are in charge of your happiness. You are in charge of your peace. In your mind's eye, just create a very strong image of yourself. And just keep watering that vision every day. That being that is full of self-respect. Shanti. Thank you so much. Thank you for attending. Thank you,
Om
Sister
Shanti, Sister
Indra.
Aruna. A great pleasure and beautiful, powerful tools that were mentioned and easy to follow. And what I am taking is, I really like this. I had never heard this before. You become your own spy. So I'm going to become my own spy from today and really spy on the things that allow for me to see the wrong and to fix it so that I move towards my self-respect. And I am going to do that from now onwards. Thank you so much. And we're looking forward to meeting you again. Good night, everyone. Thank you for attending. We shall meet soon. Om Shanti.